Okay, so last week we talked about how our cuts reflect our position in the tree. We were on a limb walk last week and kind of went over how to position ourselves for not only a safer cut, but a proper cut in the tree. Your cuts can also be reflected on a spar as well. So like we talked about last week, we have our annual training coming up, and Colin and I are putting on a course called The Cut Reflects the Position. So just like last week, we showed you a couple little tips there, and we'll be going over more in depth at our annual training. The same applies here, where I'm going to give you guys a trick here that I like to use in single rope application to make myself bidirectionally cinched rather, so I can work the spar better and get better positioning in the cuts. So like you can see here, we have this spar set up. I'm going to be using this to simulate being at work, being in a tree, being on a big spar in a negative rigging application. So let's take a look at what we got here. We got our rigging sling set up here with a block with our rigging rope, just like you would have at work. And I got my climbing line tied here above my sling. I know that there's a lot of talk and controversy about whether you should have your climbing line below your rigging sling or your lanyard below or above, or however the order of operations goes. We will be going over that at annual training. So if you have any questions about that, you can ask us then. But today, like I said, I'm going to be going over a trick I like to use when positioning myself on a spar, especially big spars, to make sure that I'm cutting. Maybe my saw is a little too short and I can't reach the other side of my notch when I'm making it, and I gotta go around the spar to finish off the cut on the other side, or the back cut, or whatever have you. So like I said, we have our rope here. We got just a standard runner bowline, just like I do on a spar, with a little bit of a tail for retrieval. I'm sure most of you guys do that, just to pull it down to your next cut. So let me get up on the spar, just like I were to at work. I put the lanyard up here. So first thing out of the gate, I'll just clip my lanyard. But this is just a little trick within the trick I'm going to show you. Is I like to take the tail of my line coming out of the bottom of my device, and when I put my lanyard on, I like to drape it over my lanyard. You can do it this way, or like if you're up in a tree, you can put it in this way. That way, it keeps it out of the way of my spikes, and I'm not worried about poking my rope or anything. But that being said, hop up here, and so like I said, let me try to spin this knot. Cool. Check this out. As I'm waiting, this knot here, which is my main pivot point. So as I pull this way, I'm cinching that knot tight. So if I'm walking around the spar this way, I'm feeling pretty good. I got a pretty good position as I'm leaning into the device this way, and I can make a cut. I feel pretty comfortable here to do whatever I need to do. But if I were to walk my way around this way, spin the rope so I can stay right here, and I would try to cinch the rope this way, you can see as I'm walking, it's not working very well. So in order to kind of combat that, I like to implement a piece of hitch cord. You see up here, I have a piece of Dyneema webbing that's rated. Normally I have this on my harness at all times. It's a multi-sling I use for redirects and stuff. It's also rated. But for simplicity's sake, we're going to be using just a regular piece of hitch cord. With this hitch cord, I tie it on this side of the rope. That's not the knotted side of the rope. That's the other side of the rope that's coming out of my device. And I just tie a 6-wrap prusik. So once that's tied, obviously you capture both eyes with the carabiner. So for this trick, you would need some form of hitch cord or webbing and a carabiner. So Once that's tied, I like to cinch my system up and clip the carabiner there. So as you can see, I've created a bit of a triangle. So if I pull this way, it's pulling against the hitch cord. Pull this way, it's pulling against the knot. That's the concept of it. So if I spread these apart a little bit, gives me a little bit more room to work with as far as my window of being able to pivot here. So like I said, if I work this way, don't take out this knot again over here, Colt. We already know that I'm going to cinch against that knot, so I can work here comfortably. So if I work this way now, I'll actually do the thing and walk over this way. Now I'm cinching against that carabiner with the hitch cord, so I can get to where I need. I can let myself out a little bit more. And now, if I was making my notch here, finish off comfortably. If something was to happen, I was to slip out, my system is cinched. I'm not going to go anywhere. It gives me better position, better angle to make everything. Only takes a piece of hitch cord and a carabiner, so no real crazy extra piece of kit. And once I'm done my cut, if I get in a position to back cut, do whatever, and I take my slings off, rope, I'm ready to move down to the next piece. You could take this off if you wanted to, if you're already untying stuff, but if it's towards the end of the day, you get tired of doing stuff with your hands, you can also just unclip this carabiner here, let that ride there, and as you retrieve it down to yourself, it'll wrap around. You can flick your rope down and then just pull it back and just make sure you bring it back to yourself. You can reset yourself up. So it's a super simple trick that you can implement with minimal gear. I hope this helps you guys. At our course, we will be going over a lot more single line tricks for positioning on spars and moving rope as well, with ring and rings, how far to space them apart, and pulley saver systems and pulleys and stuff, just in case you guys are running those. You can have little tricks to use with those as well. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. I hope you got something out of this video. And yeah, we're excited to put on this course at annual training.